1260 KDUZ News, I'm Mark Wodarczyk. A rural Paynesville man accused of second-degree murder still hasn't retained an attorney to represent him. 81-year-old Delbert Huber appeared in KDUZ County District Court yesterday. Huber told Judge Catherine Smith that the person holding his power of attorney has been unable to locate the deed to his property, which would allow him to borrow money against the property to secure an attorney. At Huber's request, Smith delayed his next court hearing to December 5th in KDUZ County District Court. Huber and his son, Timothy Huber, both face second-degree murder charges for allegedly shooting and killing 43-year-old Timothy Larson of Albertville on October 8th during a dispute in northern KDUZ County. Winona police say a 90-year-old woman has died after being struck by a vehicle as she crossed a downtown street Saturday.
Deputy Police Chief Tom Williams says the woman was pushing a combination cart and walker in the marked crosswalk when she was struck Saturday morning. Evelyn Scheel was taken to a Winona hospital and then flown to a Rochester hospital where she died. The Minnesota State Patrol is being called in to help investigate. Abby Popp reporting.
A man accused of driving drunk and causing a fatal Christmas Eve crash has been convicted in Dakota County. Prosecutors say Jeffrey Martin's blood alcohol was twice the legal limit when he crashed into the victim's Cadillac on December 24, 2009 in Lakeville. 88-year-old Everett Letterly of Prior Lake died the next day. His wife was injured but survived. The 39-year-old Farmington man was convicted of felony counts of criminal vehicular homicide and injury, as well as child endangerment because his three children, ages 4, 9, and 10, were in his truck at the time of the crash. Sentencing is scheduled for January 4th. The Monticello nuclear power plant is operating at full power again after a 10-day shutdown. Operators returned the plant to full power yesterday morning after replacing a cable that failed on October 21st. Xcel Energy officials say the cable failure caused a transformer to lock out, which interrupted power and prompted the plant to automatically shut down. Officials say the situation did not pose any danger. The rare October snowstorm that knocked out power for so many people has led to a scramble for food and supplies in parts of the northeastern United States. Judy Guthrie is the manager of a market in Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Batteries, water, beer, toilet paper, dog food. Those are the high necessity items that people are coming in for. We sold out of our firewood first thing.
There are still close to 2 million customers without electricity in parts of the Northeast. At least 21 deaths are blamed on the storm, and Halloween trick-or-treating was postponed in many areas. Minnesota farmers are nearly finished with their corn and sunflower harvests. The government's weekly report says the corn harvest is 93% finished and sunflowers are 90% harvested. The warm, dry trend that began in late June continued last week. Warmer and drier than normal. That was October in Minnesota this year. Climatologist Pete Boulay.
Most places wound up about 4 to 6 degrees above normal. One of the warmest spots was Fargo, about 7 degrees above normal there. So most places will probably finish somewhere in the top 10 warmest Octobers on record.
As for October rain, most Minnesota locations measured only an inch or less. That's about 1 to 2 inches below normal and adds to the drought that took hold in July. By the way, October came and went without any measurable snowfall. American Crystal Sugar Company workers in 3 states who have been locked out for 3 months were voting today on the latest contract proposal from the sugar beet refiner. About 1,300 workers have been locked out at plants in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa since August 1st. The company has been processing this year's crop with replacement workers. Eden Valley Watkins School Board members are moving forward with a search for a superintendent this week. The St. Cloud Times reports they plan to do the search on their own, but have asked former Eden Valley Watkins and Sauk Rapids Rice Superintendent Greg Vandal to help prepare them for the search. Superintendent Larry Peterson is retiring in June after 10 years leading the district. Peterson says Vandal plans to meet with board members tomorrow. Vandal, who retired in 2009 from Sauk Rapids Rice School District, will lead the board in a discussion about what direction they might want to go, what they might seek in a superintendent, and some issues they might need to be concerned about in the search. Peterson says the advice will cost about $400. Starting school 2 weeks before Labor Day did not improve students' test scores in a consortium of 25 school districts in southwestern Minnesota. The first progress report released yesterday showed scores stayed flat, but the superintendent of the Mountain Lake School says he's still confident the 3-year experiment with early starts will boost achievement. Herman Cain speaks out about the sexual harassment claims reported by Politico. More from ABC's Brad Wheelis.
Focus on the White House. The man at the top of the GOP presidential polls calls it a witch hunt.
I have never sexually harassed anyone, and those accusations are totally false.
Herman Cain says he's being targeted because he's the front runner. Cain says that in one case he simply commented on a woman's height and compared her to his wife's stature, saying it may have been too close for comfort for her, but it was not sexual harassment. Tomorrow, the president embarks on an overseas trip, and the economy will be a major topic. ABC News White House correspondent Ann Compton.
Crammed into this month alone, President Obama hitched 3 continents for 4 summit meetings, confronting a crisis in Europe that threatens economies in every corner of the globe. This week, France and the broad-based G20 summit. Next week, Australia, then South Asia. All that travel takes him as far as 12 time zones away from the jobs debate here. Brad?
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
The Minnesota Chamber of Commerce has its annual meeting this morning in St. Paul, and taxes and government regulations will be on a lot of business people's minds. Chamber spokesman Tom Hesse says Minnesota businesses generally feel their tax burden is high compared to competitors around the country, and that some relief is in order.
They're realistic, though, and in the short term with persistent budget problems at the state level, I'm guessing they would be quite comfortable if there were no tax increases.
Hesse says businesses are looking for stability and predictability in their tax burden rather than fighting off increases year after year. Ryan Suckup kicked his third field goal of the game, a 30-yarder with 5:19 left in overtime.